Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Samsara Davatna Larida Loka Pranaya Karuna Naganatvam Paptasya Kalyana Gunaravasya Pande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Padicha Madhyam Manasura Sena Romanchakam Sutaranga Bhajo Pande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Shri Vigrahara Nananitanana Shingaratan Mandira Majinalo Yuktasya Bhaktam Saniyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Chaturveda Shri Bhagavat Prasado Sadvana Chiptan Hari Bhakta Sangham Yuktas Kitaiva Chiptim Vajata Sadeva Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Samsaradava Nalarida Loka Pranaya Karuna Ganaganatvam Paptasya Kalyana Gunaravasya Ande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Shri Radhika Madhavayura Para Madhurya Lila Gunarupa Namnam Adhikshana Nanalolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Nikunja Yuno Rati Kilisidai Jaya Libya Tira Biksanina Nikunjay Tatarati Dakshad Ati Balabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Shakshadadite Rasamasta Sasti Yuktastata Bhavya Vyadeva Savi Ratida Sinto Prabhuya Viyaiva Tasha Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Sinto Prabhuya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Yasha Prasada Bhagavat Prasada Yasha Prasadana Nakatikatopi Yam Studvam Stasya Yasastri Sandam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Vaskadya Diratarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Mola Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Tagore Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Tagore Hari Bol, Tagore Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Tagore Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajikachasta Tarasatara Shri Shri Srimad Divine Grace Shri Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajikachasta Tarasatara Shri Shri Srimad Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Samakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Mayapura Dham ki jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Ganga Maya ki jai. Jamuna Maya ki jai. Samaveda Bhaktavinda ki jai. Harinama Sankirtan ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana ki jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Prahlad Ladadaine, Prahlad Ladadaine, Hiranyakashipurvakshaha, Hiranyakashipurvakshaha, Shilatankanakalaye, Shilatankanakalaye, Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimho, Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimho, Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha, Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha, Bahir Narsimho, Hridaye Narsimho, Bahir Narsimhori E Narsimho Narasimhadim Sharanam Prapade Narasimhadim Sharanam तव कर कमलवरे नाका अद्भुत श्रृंगा दलित्रा हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगा केशवदीता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव कर कमलवरे नाका अद्भुत श्रृंगा दलित्रा हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगा केशवदृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवदृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवदृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय नरहरि 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 निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
तुलसी देवी महारानी की जय वृंदाये तुलसी देवाय प्रियाये केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्ति परि देवी सतवता नमो वृंदाये तुलसी देवाय प्रियाये केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्ति परि देवी सतवता नमो वृंदाये तुलसी देवा प्रियाये केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्ति परि देवी सतवता नमो
Something will happen and I won't know where I'm at. Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Prayasi Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Prayasi Namo Namaha Radha Krishna Seva Pabo Hey Abhilasi Krishna Seva Pabo Hey Abhilasi Radha Krishna Seva Pabo Hey Abhilashi Krishna Seva Pabo Hey Abhilashi Yeto Mara Sharanaloy Taravancha Purnahoy Yeto Mara Sharanaloy Taravancha Purnahoy Kripa Kovi Korotare Vrindavanavasi Kripa Kovi Korotare Vrindavanavasi Bora Ea Bilas Vilas Kunjedi Ovas Aya Vilas Kunjedi Ova Nayane Heri Bosadha Yugala Rupa Rasi Nayane Heri Bosadha Yugala Rupa Rasi Nivedana Daro Sakiranu Gata Koro Nivedana Daro Sakiranu Gata Keva Adikara Diye Koro Nije Dasi Adikara Nije Koro Nije Dasi Vina Krishna Rasa Go Eye Namora Hoy Oh Eye Namora Hoy Shri Radha Govinda Preme Sadhayena Basi Govinda Preme Sadhayena Basi Shri Radha Govinda Preme Sadhayena Basi Radha Govinda Preme Sadhayena Basi Yani Kani Chapapani Brahmachati Kani Cha Tani Tani Prana Shanti Pradakshina Pade Pade Yani Kani Chapapani Brahmachati Kani Cha Tani Tani Prana Shanti Brahmati Hare Yani Kani Chapapani Brahmajati Kani Cha Tani Tani Prana Shanti Pradakshina Pade Pade Yani Kani Chapapani Brahmajati Kani Cha Tani Tani Prana Shanti Pradakshina Pade Pade Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Vrinde 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 Jaya Tusi Maharani 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 Tusi Devi Maharani ki jai.
Vrindaye Tulsi Devai Priyaye Keshavaya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavratai Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tulsi Devai Priyaye Keshavaya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavratai Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tulsi Devi Maharani ki jai. O Tulasi, beloved of Krishna, I bow before you again and again. My desire is to obtain the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you has his wishes fulfilled. Bestowing your mercy upon him, you make him resident of Vrindavan. My desire is that you also grant me residence in the pleasure groves of Shri Vrindavan. Thus, within my vision, I'll always behold the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of the cowherd damsels of Vraj. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maidservant. This very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna prays. May I always swim in love with Shri Radha and Govinda. Tulsi Devi Maharani ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Siksastakam ki jai. Cheto Darpanamarjanam Baba Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shri Rakkairapi Chandrika Vitaranam Nishitam Vapu Kada Tabanamakane Bhavishyati Yugayitam Nimesena Chakshasa Pavrashayitam Sunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Vidahename Aslisheva Padaratam Pinastumam Adasharanam Mamahato Karutuva Yata Tata Vavidata Tulampato Mat Prananatas Tusaeva Naparaha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Shri Chaitanya Siksastakam ki jai. Glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtan. which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings. And thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In terms of the names you have all your posts. They're not even hard and fast rules for planning these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no of them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your holy name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Siksastakam Ki Jai. There are 10 offenses in the matter of chanting the holy names of the Lord that should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees or dedicate their lives to propagating the holy names of the Lord. 2. To consider names of demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent names of Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna as imagination. 6. To give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities of karma kanda. 9. To instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10. To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions in this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema! Now let us offer our most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desired trees that can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vanchakal Platirabhischa. Kripa Sindhu Bhyevicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Vaishnava Thakur Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Grantaraja Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadhyasya Yuto Nivayad Itaratas Chate Suavigyaswarat. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adhikavaye Muyanti Yat Suryaha. Tejo Varimedam Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Misha. Damna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Parandimahi. O my Lord, Shri Krishna, son of Vasudeva. O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes, of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations. And he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion. As one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen on fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Dharma Pujita Kaitravotra Paramo Nirmatsanam Satam Vedyam Vastavamatra Vastu Shivadam Tapa Trayon Mulam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim Vapurer Ishwaraha Sadyo Hridya Avarudyate Tra Krite Bihe Sususubis Dakshanat. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Nigama kalpatarur galitam phalam Sukumakad amrita dravya samyutam Pibata bhagavatam rasam alayam Muhur ahob rasika bhuvibhavikaha. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire to read Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful. Although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Grantaraj Ki Jai Shinvatam Sakta Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam Hridyantaksto Bhadrani Vidunoti Suhitsatam. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures, or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita, is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as his best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in devotional service of the Lord, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, text number 19. Shirajo Vacha Aptisa Vamsyan Rajarsin Punyaslokan Mahatmana Anuvartitas Vidyasasas Sadhuvadena Sattama. The good king Yudhisthira inquired, O great souls, will he become as saintly a king, as pious in his very name, and as famous and glorified in his achievements as others who appeared in this great royal family? Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The forefathers of King Yudhisthira were all great saintly kings, pious and glorified by their great achievements. They were all saints on the royal throne, and therefore all the members of the state were happy. Pious, well-behaved, prosperous, and spiritually enlightened. Under strict guidance of the great souls and spiritual injunctions, such great saintly kings were trained up, and as a result, the kingdom was full of saintly persons and was a happy land of spiritual life. Maharaj Yudhisthira was himself a replica of his ancestors, and he desired that the next king after him become exactly like his great forefathers. He was happy to learn from the learned Brahmanas that by astrological calculations the child would be born a first-grade devotee of the Lord. And more confidentially, he wanted to know whether the child was going to follow in the footsteps of the great forefathers. That is the way of the monarchical state. The reigning king should be a pious, chivalrous devotee of the Lord, and fear personified for the upstarts. Meaning the dacoits and different kinds of criminals. He must also leave an heir, a parent, equally qualified to rule over the innocent citizens. In the modern setup of the democratic states, the people themselves are fallen to the qualities of Sudras or less, and the government is run by their representatives, who is ignorant of the scriptural mode of administrative education. Thus, the whole atmosphere is surcharged with Sudra qualities. Thus, the whole atmosphere is surcharged with Sudra qualities manifested by lust and avarice. Wow, that's so true. Such administrators quarrel every day among themselves. The cabinet of ministers changes often due to party and group selfishness. Everyone wants to exploit the state resources till he dies. No one retires from political life unless forced to do so. How can such low-grade men do good to the people? The result is corruption, intrigue, hypocrisy. They should learn from the Srimad Bhagavatam how ideal the administrators must be before they can be given charge of different posts. Wow. So, this is very important purport by Prabhupada, who, although he wrote this maybe almost 40, 50 years ago, still it is exactly true today. Exactly true. And this was in other words, the verse is about the glorification and the qualities, the ideal qualities of this newborn baby, Maharaj Parikshit. But the whole culture of governance in Krishna consciousness is being explained by these verses, and Prabhupada is explaining here the aberrant and let's say sad state of governance today. So that is real writing. That is real commentary. Only a pure devotee can write like this. So first of all, he gives the idea of what is an ideal monarchical state, and then so we know what the standard is, and then he explains the degenerated state of affairs today is starkly in contrast with the ideal monarchical state and qualities of nobly born children, where the parents follow the samskars correctly, especially Garbhodhan's samskar. So, what are we going to do about this? Well, we have to do massive sankirtan and massive book distribution. This is and prasadam distribution. That's what you do if you want to change things. If you want to keep them as they are, you stay at home and worry about your job, making money, and enjoying sense gratification. But if you want to do something to change the world, you have to go out, preach, and distribute prasadam and distribute books, and then, along with the books, cultivate people to become Krishna conscious. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. And we're not going to change either. I mean, we'll be making some spiritual progress, definitely, but nothing major is going to happen. It's all going to just keep going on the way it is. And actually, this is the real need of society today. It's not, we don't need, a vaccine. We need Krishna consciousness. The vaccine for coronavirus is not going to save society. It's like a Band-Aid on a boil. Unless you cut the boil, lance the boil, and get the poison out, it's not going to go away easily. Right? So putting a Band-Aid over it, or going like this, it's not going to get rid of the boil. It might give you some little bit of relief for a few seconds, but it's not going to get rid of the boil. So, both things are explained here. Ideal governance and the perverted form of it in this age. This is a tremendous purport by Srila Prabhupada. No one can write like this. They want it so correctly explained. And it's a generational thing. The ideal governance is a generational thing. It's passed on from one generation to the next. And it should be always, if there's a strong Brahminical class, and they're not just Brahmins, they're Brahmana Vaishnavas, transcendental persons like that, who can advise people, then the people, if they listen, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, the Sudras, then there can be peace, prosperity, happiness, and everyone can make spiritual progress gradually toward Krishna consciousness. If you don't have that class of Brahmana Vaishnavas, then it's going to be very difficult to change society. So Prabhupada wanted to have an army. He wanted to train an army of Brahmana Vaishnavas. It doesn't matter whether you're married or you're sannyasi or brahmachari or vanaprastha. One must be a genuine Brahmana Vaishnava. Now, why do we say Brahmana Vaishnava? Because at the same time that one follows the Daiva Varnashram system, they're also transcendentally situated as Vaishnavas. Simply being Brahmana is not enough. It's good, but it's not enough to bring about change. Because a person has to be completely free of sense gratification, of the desire to find some happiness in the material world through sense gratification. They have to be completely free of that whole idea and desire. Otherwise, you cannot be an effective preacher. You're not going to make any sacrifices, significant sacrifices to spread Krishna consciousness. You'll make sacrifices, little ones, to maintain family and basically to maintain some position in Krishna consciousness. But you're not going to make any sacrifices that lead to massive spreading of this movement. And that's what's needed. It's not simply that, it's good that you follow Krishna consciousness, but it's not enough to bring about a massive change in society. You need a large group of people. When I say large, we're not talking about millions of people. We're talking about 1% of the population. 1% of the population who becomes very dedicated, strong, qualified Vaishnavas. You'll change society. Because they'll make all kinds of sacrifices. They will endure through all kinds of criticism and actions taken against them to stop them by envious people. They'll tolerate all that in order to spread the movement. So, it says here that the people themselves have fallen to the qualities of the Sudras or less, and the government is run by their representatives, and by their representative who is ignorant of the scriptural mode of administrative education. This is a very important point. The scriptural mode of administrative education. They learn the Asuric mode of administrative education. But what is needed is the scriptural mode of administrative education. They come up with all kinds of strategies for managing the people based on demoniac qualities like Hiranyakashipu. That is not wanted. Thus, the whole atmosphere is surcharged with Sudra qualities, manifested by lust and avarice, lust and greed. Those are the two, kama and lobha, kama, krodha, lobha, lust, anger, greed. Anger is the younger brother of lust. And then from that anger and lust comes greed, selfishness. And that is the world today. Okay, we'll stop right there. Are there any questions about this purport or verse? Okay, no questions, no answers, and we'll go on to verse 19 tomorrow. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. You want to have